Hello everybody, this is Richard Watson and this is Anglais the Easy Way. Today I'd like to fix one thing. Let's fix for versus since versus during. Now, a lot of languages use fewer words than English to describe time. We have to clearly separate three different tasks that these words for, since, and during do when you're speaking English. If you use the wrong word, your listener understands the time, but they misunderstand the type of time you're describing. Is it an amount, a starting date, or an event? Now, let's look at this simply. We're going to fix one thing today. One simple, clear job for each of these three important words. So the secret is to ask yourself, what is the job of the time word I need? Am I talking about an amount of time, a start time, or the context of a time? Let's have a look. The job of the word for, its duration. For answers the question, how long? It describes a continuous amount or a period of time. And for is followed by a length of time. Could be a number, time word, or a general period. For example, I've lived in Paris for 15 years. We can talk about that for a few minutes. Or I've waited for this moment for my whole life. Each time we're talking about a duration. And in fact, in English, apart from the word since, we have no other words that we can really talk about durations like this. And if you have a number word, then it's always for. It's our only word to talk about pure durations. So what's the job of the word since? Since gives you a starting point. It answers the question, when did it start? Since is followed by a fixed date, a year or a moment. For example, since 2010, since Monday, since I was a child. For example, I've lived in Paris since 2010. It's not for 10 years, it's since 2010. And then we have during. This is particularly difficult for French people. During answers the question, when did something happen? It doesn't talk about how long. It describes a period in which something else happened. During is always followed by a noun. During the war, during the meeting, during the film, during my holiday. For example, I fell asleep during the film. It tells you when, it doesn't tell you how long. So, the conclusion and your mission summary. Remember the three jobs of these words. For is for a number, length of time. Since is the date it started. And during is the noun context where something happened. And if you master these distinctions, you gain total control over time in your English sentences. Now here's a final motivational thought. Stop mixing up your time words. If you use for, since, and during correctly, you're not just speaking English, you're speaking English precisely. And I'm going to leave you with an action plan for the week. Your job this week is to master the relationship between these words by forcing yourself to state the same thing in two different ways. The first one, we'll call it a drill. A drill is something you do again and again until it becomes easy. For example, a fire drill, you practice leaving a building. So the first drill, you're swapping for and since. What I want you to do, choose three things that you've done for a long time and state it in two different ways, once with since and once with for. Now, since will take the starting date and for will take the duration. Let's have a look. I've been here since 2010 is the same as I've been here for 5 years. So we're going to do both. You can say the same thing in both ways. The next one, she has known him since primary school. Or she has known him for a very long time. So we're saying the same fact in two different ways. It will help you to draw the distinction between them. And the second one, use during and make sure you don't mix it up with a duration. For example, take two events, a vacation, a project, a training course, and contrast the context of the event with its duration. I went to the beach during my holidays. It tells you when. It doesn't tell you how long. Or we can have a second example. I learned a lot during that project, and contrast that with I've learned a lot since the project started. So commit to practicing these two types of sentences out loud, which means with your voice, every day for a week. The contrast is what makes them clear and helps you to build fluency. Once the idea is clear for you, try generating some sentences. You'll see that each case is distinct. When we're talking about since, we're talking about a starting point. I've been here since lunch. I've known him since we were kids. I've lived in France since I arrived in 1993. With for, we always have a duration. I've been waiting for hours. He's been here for 1 month. I haven't seen him for nearly a year. And with during, remember it tells you when. I met my wife during my holidays. During the presentation, he kept interrupting me. During the trip, I had to stop to get a coffee. Anyway, play around with that. You'll see it's not as difficult as you think once it's very clear in your head. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.